Can you talk to me about sex assault from a male perspective? Why should men care?
Well, I think it's important for men to recognize the role that we have in the issue and our responsibility around violence against women and girls. I mean, men are assaulted as well. Stats tell us that 1 out of 6 men have been assaulted. But the idea is that when it comes to all forms of sexual assault, physical, sexual, harassment in places of work, living, or study, it's important for men to recognize that this is not about blaming and shaming all men. It's a small part of the spectrum of men that are doing this. But the majority of men are really silent on the issue. What are we doing to be part of a solution? A lot of guys will say, well, I'm not a violent guy, so what are you talking to me? Like, if you're not part of the problem, what are you doing to be part of a solution to the issue? So we need men to think about how, if you're not directly, creating these problems or acting this way, what are we doing to kind of stop reinforcing attitudes, problematic behavior? It even starts with things like jokes, the language we use, and what we can do to kind of change that and impact that difference, and the role that we can play to make a large difference in the issue.
Do you find it challenging to get that conversation started?
Absolutely. I mean, you probably saw, I don't know if you saw some young men that feel like it's like, why you feel like you're blaming us, you're pointing fingers at us. But it's really recognizing that this conversation is about us. It's not just about what men are doing to women, it's about what men are doing to each other and what we're kind of subject to as men. Women are oppressed in society, but men feel pressures and have impacts from this stuff as well. Pressures to kind of like man up and be a tough, like stoic idea of a man and not have access to humanity in some cases. So it's really an issue that affects us directly. And the conversation I try to have is, let's talk about us as guys. That's what's going on for us. Like the way that we can't even connect to each other, the pressures that we feel in everyday life, and how that impacts us. And then in turn impacts the women and girls in our lives. Not just the people that we know and that we love, but women in general across society. Yeah.
We often see tips telling women, here's what to do if you're in a dangerous situation, or here are some tips to prevent yourself from being sexually assaulted. But what about the tips for men?
Absolutely. White Ribbon, what we did was there was a string of sexual assaults in Toronto last summer. So we created a list of 6 things men can do to take a stand against sexual assault and street harassment. The idea is, like you said, that when an assault happens in a school or in a community, bulletins go up in a woman's bathroom. But we created an image or a poster that could be put up in men's bathrooms or places where men work and live and study to say, here's things that you can do. Here's things that we can do. Again, not to say that all men are perpetrators. It's saying that what can we do as men to be vigilant, to be supportive, to be helping our sisters in the community, but also thinking about what we can do to help ourselves around these issues too. So things around like, respecting and believing a person who's telling a story, how we can support them, and what we can do to speak to the young men and boys in our lives about these issues and just talk about it. It's such a silent, taboo topic, and our silence speaks volumes around this issue.